I just want to open by saying I'm jealous. I'm jealous of the people who don't need to travel overseas and have all these different, international experiences and taste different foods around the world and see different sights, because it would just be so much easier if we could just be completely content and fulfilled in our hometown or our home city. I'm also jealous of the people who know exactly what career they want to do from such a young age. They're in school and they know exactly what they want to do. They finish school and they just do that for the rest of their working lives, and they're completely happy and content. Now, I'm not like that. I've got my own set of needs, much like you do. I like to travel the world. I like to see different things. I like to have the different experiences, and I like being on this journey of trying to fulfill my own potential. Now, because I have these needs, it can from time to time lead me to feeling stuck or in a rut. So what I want to share with you in this clip is 3 main reasons as to why people won't unstuck themselves, why people won't get themselves out of a rut. And the reason I want to share this is because, as I said, I've felt stuck before, and it just doesn't feel good at all. Also, we don't need to feel stuck. We don't need to feel trapped, and we don't need to feel, stuck and with our head in the clouds, because if we're able to have some awareness and think about these 3 concepts that I'm going to share with you, then you can brush those clouds away and see that your life around you is beautiful and it's amazing, and you've got so much to live for without being bogged down in some little stinky rut. Anyway, Rowan here from Your Life Designed. Check it out. Now, before I talk about the 3 main reasons why people won't unstuck themselves, I want to share with you why people feel stuck in the first place. It's when there's a certain aspect of your life and it's been bad in the past and it's bad right now, and we perceive that it's not going to improve in the future. Now, when these 3 things line up, the past, the present, and the future, and it's all looking bleak, then we start to feel very stuck. We start to get into very negative thought patterns that can actually lead to depression. So why don't we just unstuck ourselves? Why don't we just make the change we need to? The first reason is there's too much cush. What I mean by this is there's too many cushy things that prevent us from taking action. If enough of our smaller needs are being met, or not necessarily smaller, but if enough of our other needs are being met, then we deal with some of the negative aspects. For example, if we're feeling, if we have financial security, or if we have that need of belonging being met, because we're in a certain relationship, or we're in a certain group or team of people, or perhaps we have that need of significance being met because we've been with someone for a certain amount of time, or we've been in a company for a certain amount of time. If some of those other peripheral needs are being met, then we just take on the mindset that, some things are good and some things are just bad. So that prevents us from making the change. I experienced this myself, a couple of years ago when I was working for a company, and there were a lot of my needs being met. It was generally all pretty good. I had the financial security, I was in a great team of people, made some great friendships, there was a great leader, great mentor, lots of things that were really good. But some of my other bigger ticket needs that really spoke to my deeper values were not being met. So I found that over time, I would have these highs of, everything's fine, it's all good, it's all okay. And then I'd have these low points where I just thought, I've got to make a change. I've got to change something. And then I'd have a high again. Oh no, it's okay. You can deal with it. It's all good. And then I'd have another low. But what was happening was over time, the lows were getting lower and lower until one day, bang, I just stood up from my desk, walked straight to the front door, went to a recruiter and made the change that I needed to make. Now, change is not a matter of ability. It's a matter of motivation. So at that point for me, the cush could no longer hold me back. I was motivated to make the change. Change does happen in an instant, but it's as Tony Robbins says, it's getting to that point where we're ready to make the change that takes the time. So if there's enough cushy things in our life, we plod along, and the change is just a should. It's not a must, it's just a should. until, the cush doesn't suffice and we have to make the change. Okay, so what's the second reason that people won't unstuck themselves? It is our conditioning. We all have a long, long history of being conditioned by the external environment, being told what to do, being told what not to do, feeling like we can or can't do certain things from fear of being judged. All sorts of conditioning that's gone on in our life, being told that things are too risky or not to do something because it's different, whatever it is. We're conditioned, and for the best part, as kids growing up, that conditioning was great. It served us so well in keeping us alive. But as adults, it has only given us this set of limiting beliefs, these beliefs that basically limit our growth. Beliefs such as, oh, you need to have money to make money, or prioritize security. Security should be the biggest priority. Or what's another one? You shouldn't try new things because it can be dangerous, or whatever it is. We all have these limiting beliefs, and a lot of them are ridiculous. Now, the problem is that a lot of these limiting beliefs, they're our thought patterns, and because they're our thought patterns, we tend to stick up for them. We tend to say, that's my thought pattern, that's what I believe, and that's the person I am, and that's what I will or won't do. Now, because we stick up for these thought patterns, that shuts the door and shuts the window to different opportunities and different possibilities. An example that I can think of is maybe on your social media feed, on your Facebook feed, every now and then you see these adverts for, this person made this much money in 2 weeks or 1 month, and your first thought is, oh, geez, I'd like to make that much money in that short a time. But then straight away, warning bells go off, and you just think, no, it must be a scam or it must be dodgy, and you keep flicking by. Or maybe you once you clicked the button to delve a little bit deeper just to see what it's about. And then you start reading and it makes a bit of sense, but then your warning bells go off and you go, no, it must be a scam, must be something dodgy. Anyway, that's classic conditioning. So what's the third reason that people won't unstuck themselves? It's time. We're all super busy. The average American works, and they're working full time, they're working an average of 47 hours per week. Now, tack on a few more hours for getting ready to go to work and commuting, and that's a third of your week gone. And I'm not talking a third of your 5-day working week, I'm talking a third of your 7-day week used up. By the time we've gone to work, we've had a bit of time to catch up with friends or family, maybe one iota of downtime, then of course all the other things we need to do, the cooking, the cleaning, the looking after things, the household, whatever it is, we have no time. It's like society is busier than ever, and if one little bit of time opens up, it's used up just as quickly as it ever came. So because we are so busy, we don't give ourselves the time. We don't give ourselves the opportunity to step back for just a second and say, okay, where am I right now? Where do I want to be in 1 year? Where do I want to be in 5 years? What could be a few goals that I can set myself to get the wheels in motion, to make that change? Just some very simple thoughts like this. We don't give ourselves the time to do that. Now, these thoughts, having a bit of a conscious awareness of these simple thoughts can help us so much get unstuck ourselves out of whatever aspect of our life needs change. So just to recap, and also to think about how to unstuck ourselves or unstuck yourself if there's a certain aspect of your life that, needs change. The first was the cush. Be aware that there can be a lot of little things that are preventing you from making the change. Don't let it get too far. If you let it get too far, you might end up in the situation where your debt is spiraling out of control, or you've been in such a bad relationship for so long that it's just, turned totally horrible and will never get better. Or, you just have been having these negative thought patterns in a certain aspect of your life for so long that you're starting to make yourself bloody anxious or depressed. So just be aware of the cush, and be aware that the cush might be holding you back. Also, be aware of your conditioning. A piece of advice that I got that I think is really great is if you can stand back and take an objective look at some of your beliefs. Just stand back, pick it out and say, okay, I just had that thought pattern. I just thought, you know, the alarm bells went off for this reason, or I just thought quite negatively about that. Is that true? Question that thought pattern or question that belief to death and see what comes out of it. And third time, for some reason, we just don't give ourselves the time that we deserve. We have such an opportunity with this life and we're not going to have it forever. So use the time, use it effectively, and live an amazing life. Unstuck yourself, because you don't need to be stuck. I hope you got something out of this. If so, if you're on my YouTube channel, please subscribe, like, make a comment if you're on Facebook, leave a comment, get in touch. Would love to hear from you. And everyone else would love to hear your comments as well. Would love to know how you made yourself unstuck, or unstuck yourself, or possibly, you know, a question as to how you can get out of a certain situation or a part of your life. Anyway, have an awesome day. Take care. Bye.